It's weird. Sometimes it does that.
Okay. So,
Okay, so oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh, you go ahead.
I was gonna ask, do you have a name for those like cone-shaped creatures that are in,
Relax.
what do you call them? Sorry.
You mean in relax in the
It relax, yeah.
yes we do, but what was it is the question. It's a funny name. Um Omnoms, they're called. Omnom.
How do you spell that? I can't really hear it because I have the
Omnom.
oh, Onomnom. Okay.
Omnom.
Oh no. Okay.
And the flying creature, the one that looks kind of like a bird. What?
Yeah, the one that has the three rings on its tail.
Yeah, that is called Onadia.
Ah,
Onadia.
Yeah.
Ah, neat. I like those
and,
creatures. Those are very, very cool.
and which one are you floating in right now, Doran?
I'm right now. I'm in just in Imagine.
Okay, okay. Cool.
Yeah. I I always pick Imagine for these,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure why, because actually I should probably go with something more because I always get distracted here because
Imagine it's cool though.
Imagine is
Is that
cool.
is everybody in? Like, is everybody also in Imagine, or is everybody in different ones? Or
No, I'm in relax because
I'm in
okay,
it's
cool.
better
relax also.
yeah,
Mm.
I'm in
it's
Imagine.
Okay,
better on my eyes at night. So
that's cool.
yeah.
We also have Pat Dooley joining.
Pat, hey
ah,
Pat.
Hi, Pat.
How doing? I just got home and I thought I'd try this. I was gonna try Imagine.
Cool.
Cool.
Gotcha.
so we have a theme for these things every time. And last time it was inspiration, and today we thought we'd talk about energy a bit.
Mm,
And
cool.
just some, sharing some thoughts and some insights maybe, and maybe some stories about how do we protect our energy, how do we replenish our energy, what maybe drains us, how do we deal with it, all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I got lots of stories on that.
Yeah, so what is one story, you know what, if you want me to start, I can start, but
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
um i had uh I had a thought a while ago, and I'm not going to say that I'm the best at implementing it, but I had a thought that, if we imagine ourselves as robots, if imagine yourself as a robot and you have a battery, and the idea is that you have to get to the power source before you drain the battery, right?
Mhm.
Because if you don't, you're in trouble, right? And so
Right.
what I personally often find myself doing is I find myself sort of working myself and doing all the cool stuff that I want to do and that I'm excited about, until I'm out of power. But then when I'm out of power, I'm also out of power to do the things that I need to do in order to
Mm.
to kind of replenish. So I was like, I have to teach myself to stop when I still have energy, and go and do the things, the gym and the meditation and the float and whatever I do to replenish. That was my kind of thought that I was.
Mm. Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm.
Yeah, lately I've been trying to develop a better workflow for myself when I am trying to be creative. So, and lately I've been creating a lot more. So I do find that it is just sort of taxing to be doing so much, and it doesn't feel taxing in the moment because you're in a creative rush. You just want to like make and make and make.
My Wi-Fi kicked me out for a minute there, so.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm back.
gotcha.
So I missed
But
part of the conversation. I'm sorry, but go on.
oh no, you're fine. Yeah, I was just talking about how when you're in sort of a creative like sort of flow state, you just want to like keep making stuff. And I've been doing a lot more of that lately. And when when it comes time to actually do things, like you said, you need the energy to continue to do the things that are necessary in your life. And it's like finding that threshold, that sort of like that moment where you have to be like, all right, I need to take the rest of the momentum that I have and save it and bottle it for when I need it. Trying to
Mhm.
find that sort of balance lately.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is there a specific way that you kind of use to do that?
Well, it's kind of new to me because I've been doing so much new stuff lately that it's before it was easy for me to determine because it was a different medium. But now that I'm creating in a different medium, I'm actually doing a lot of VR stuff. Um, when I'm creating there, it's like it's a different type of energy that I have to try to capture. And also, what are these little floating dot things? They're like they're like, yeah, this is so I'm sorry to kind of like segue, but I haven't been in float since like I was in at the sort of the very beginning when there was just
Mm,
relax before
right.
they implemented any of the other modes. So this is my first time going somewhere that isn't
Is it the
like
rockfish or whatever those things are?
Swordfish.
So,
No, harpfish we have.
oh, heartfish.
harpfish.
I
Hmm.
don't know that the harpfish is still there. I think
You had these things that you were calling last time, Doran. I forget what you called them. They were like, they looked like little school of fish swimming
Yeah.
around, but they were like more like rocks or something, right?
I just call them rockfish.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if that's what you're seeing or not, but I found them curious.
yeah, they're very interesting, very like cool polygons.
Hmm. Hmm.
But before, when I had that creative flow in that different medium, I knew sort of like where to switch off. Like, all right, I'm at this stage of the creative process. I know that I can use this amount of energy to finish it, and then that'll be good. Then I can cut it off there, do what I need to do, and then continue on with my life.
Right.
But the creative process now seems almost all consuming.
Do you find that if you like have a allotted amount of time that helps you conserve your energy, like your creative energy? Like,
It does for some things. I've got ADHD, so like time limits are really good
mhm.
because they force you to like compete against the clock to try to get things done.
Hmm.
But I always find myself cheating and giving myself more time when I'm enjoying the task.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Sorry, what was the last sentence you said? That you're always finding yourself what?
I always find myself cheating and giving myself more time if I'm enjoying the task that I'm doing. I'm like, oh, I could go for like another like 30 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah, so I have too much to say about this. I spent 15 years writing a book about the creative process, and then I found out that I have ADHD also,
Mhm.
and I
Hmm.
realized that my book is really about creativity for ADHD. So I didn't know that, but now I do.
What's the
Mm.
book? I'd love to
Oh,
check it out.
Yeah, it's called Workflow. It's on Amazon, but it's super expensive, unfortunately, because of the publisher, and I wasn't able to change it. So, you know,
Well, I'll take a look for it. Is it in a physical format or is it all digital?
both.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
Cool.
but just to kind of try and say something very quickly about it. Um, in the book, I talk about different roles and how you can switch between the roles, and how I always want to try to not have the creator and the critic working together. And so it's
Hmm.
Hmm.
actually super important, even if I'm enjoying it, and I agree with you. I also cheat a little bit, but I try to not to overdo it, because if I spend too much time in artist mode, one or two things would happen. either I would start critiquing while I work, and that's where a lot of problem starts, or I would just not critique, which is also not good because you do need to stop every once in a while and go like, okay, where am I? So I do try to really maintain that regime or some or whatever you want to call it of, yeah, you work for a bit and then you put it down and then you critique it and then you get back to it.
I actually had a very similar method when I was cleaning my room when I was a kid. It was what I would call a visual disruption. What would happen was I would kind of lose track of what I was doing. I would kind of like spot clean everywhere. I would just like anywhere I saw something, I would pick it up and put it back to where it was. And it was a really inefficient way to do things, but I would keep up with it and keep up with it and keep up with it. And I would have to stop myself after a little bit, like stop, go to the door of my room, stare out into the hallway for like a couple of seconds, and then turn around. And the first thing that I saw was what I would continue to keep working on. So like visual cues were really important to me when I was doing that. And working in a visual medium does that, where like I have to physically put it down and give it a second before I can like objectively critique it again. So I try to like take an actual like physical break every like hour and a half so I can like reset and come back to it.
Yeah, that's so sorry for the weird question, but I'm in float, so I can't see anything else. I was wondering who I'm talking to, like who.
Oh, sorry, this is Rook.
Rook, okay.
Rook. Okay, cool.
Nice.
You know, interestingly about that topic that you're talking about. I mean, as you're talking about this topic, I was experimenting with like volumes. I turned down the volume of the Zoom and turned up the volume of the headset, trying to find a nice balance where your voices sort of, I could hear them clearly, but they were sort of blending into the music as opposed to being like above and you're sort of separate from the music. And so I think that's kind of like one thing that's interesting about this dynamic. And if other people are finding or were finding, what I was feeling was like when everyone was talking, I felt less connected to it than I did in the previous times. And I think it's just like I had the volume too loud on the Zoom. And so as I nudged the Zoom down a little bit and the float sound up a little bit, I found this kind of nice balance of it. And it's not directly related to what you're talking about, but while you were talking, it also kind of reminded me of that as well. It's like finding that balance with your energy, the flow and the give, you know, the ebb and the flow of energy and recognizing that and knowing how to choose what you're doing. What I would call sort of like the weather patterns of the mind sort of thing, where you're kind of checking the weather and then making a decision on, you know, what you're going to do based on the weather, you know, like you would if you look outside and it's raining. Okay, I'm going to dress like this, or if it's cold, I'm going to dress like that. And sort of the two of you were a little, you know, talking a little bit about that idea, you know, in different ways, like, oh, like I can't be in this one space too much, or the other space too much. I have to kind of see where I'm at and what I need in the moment, you know. So I find
You're
I do that a
definitely an
lot with
artist.
my energy.
Yeah,
You're
that's a very
definitely an
artistic thing.
Yeah.
I love this actually because as you were talking about the volume and everything, how it like connects with the volume of the world. I had to turn the world volume like way down because I just like want to be able to hear you guys better. But it's almost like we're all in different, like this is gonna sound really stupid. We're all sort of like in different tandem like dimensions and talking to each other through walkie-talkies. Like we're all exploring different spaces, but like connected by
Yeah,
just like this little communication device that we're using. It's pretty neat actually.
Yeah,
it is cool.
strange.
Yeah, it is pretty.
Kimberly,
Talking about that though, am I the only one that's not actually listening to any music at all? I don't have the headphones on, so I'm just listening to your voices, and I'm actually
Ah,
really enjoying.
that's cool.
Just
Are
because
you in relax?
I am in relax, and it's just
Ah,
it's just I don't know, it's just lovely. It's the first time I've ever done it without listening to the headset. But I'm
okay,
really enjoying just having the conversation and just having the landscape ahead of me. It's just lovely.
nice.
Relax
This is
is so
Inoni,
cool
by the
in that.
way.
but
Oh
sorry,
yeah, nice to meet you.
yeah, how do you pronounce it again? I was
It's
wondering.
Inoni.
Inoni, okay,
Inoni,
So
okay.
it's
Oh,
just
that's
a
a pretty
silent
name.
O.
got it.
That's a very pretty name.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Mhm.
very unique.
Yeah, relax is so cool in that sense because it's like for me it was like it's either you're in deep space or the bottom of the ocean, and perfect silence really works with both of those.
Yeah.
I
It's
have not tried it without the music, but I enjoy the music so much, so it
Mhm.
just so relaxing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I found sometimes I have to turn the music off because of when I build it and so on, and I found that the music is for me it's like half of the experience. Without it, I really like I struggle honestly.
Mm.
What I sometimes do
Yeah.
is actually use my own Spotify playlist, and I just live.
Oh,
Oh, that should be
That's a good idea.
interesting.
It's a
Yeah.
good idea.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Like
I will
in
say
it, like
that
just like adding your own soundtrack to it, and how does that change the experience? Like that's interesting.
I
Yeah.
have to try that now.
and by the
Me too.
way,
I'm thinking of many things I actually really want to listen to now while I'm floating here.
Yeah. Like Enya would be beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
I have
For
a
sure.
playlist that I could share with you if you want to, which is called Music Like Ocean Waves. And all of those songs there are like handpicked as things that have repetition and change in a very specific balance. Very much like Float does, like that's the principle in which Float is
Mm.
really built.
Oh, nice.
So I think that's a really good playlist for Float. I can share it with you if you want.
The new Andre 3000 album, maybe would be a good choice. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but he's got a new flute album, which doesn't sound like if anybody knows he's a rapper, but he's got a new album. It's all like flute music, and it's supposed to be very like meditative, and that's the little clips that I've actually got a chance to listen to would probably go really well with like floating. So
That's interesting.
Float in
I've
general.
heard of it.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Okay. I was about to say I've heard of it, but now I really need to listen to it.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered like binaural beats music and stuff like that?
Yeah.
That would
If anybody,
That's
like
coming,
adding,
isn't it?
is
yeah,
it?
that's coming
I
in.
read the email.
Yeah.
Me
Oh,
too. I did see it.
uh-huh. Oh, I think I briefly read it. I'm not sure.
I love binaural beats. I use Brain FM a lot and
Uh-huh.
stuff on YouTube too for that.
Oh, that puts me to sleep like
Mm.
But you know that
within a few.
there are different frequencies. So there are
That's
frequencies
I
cool.
have
that put you to sleep and others that would. So we actually have a different set of binaural beats to each, to each of our moods or modes, whatever you want to call it.
oh,
Cool.
good.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely.
So Dawn, maybe you could a user asked when are we gonna have the new features, and maybe we could tell some of our people what's the timeline looking like, and kind of use the last couple of minutes to tell what's going on.
Mhm.
Sure. Are we? What's the time here? Yeah.
We have another 3 minutes for the official event, but of course we could stay as long as people want.
Hmm.
Sure. Yeah. So in terms of the new features, yeah, we're adding binaural beats. We're adding some buttons that would allow to customize the exact time you want to float. So right now
cool.
it's been 5, 10, 30 minutes. Now you can go like, oh, I want the second button to be 12 minutes because that's my break time, whatever.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
So that's I think that's cool. We're adding so to our observations, we're adding some female voice as well, which
Nice.
we were
That's
asked by several people. I think some of the people here even. And did I forget anything? Binaural beats I said. Oh, and of course a whole new wall that we're adding to relax. So
Okay.
I'll share some of the vision of Float for a second, which is not usually what I want to talk about here, but since somebody asked, I'll go into it just a bit. The vision of Float is right now when you go to Imagine, you always get that Imagine visual, but eventually there are going to be multiple walls, and you won't really know where you start. You just you'll know how you're going to feel in Imagine, but you won't know what you're going to see, and you'll be moving between different environments. And so the first iteration of that is coming up very soon. So yeah, lots of really cool stuff to look forward to.
Nice. In my Imagine float right now, I'm coming up on a rock, and almost looks like someone's sitting meditating on top of it. The shape has that kind of structure to it. It's really interesting.
I know what
I literally just passed by one, and he's like red.
Yes.
You could
Something
see
like
like
that.
almost the bow-legged stance that he's in, like he's got his legs folded over. That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. That's so wild.
Whoa, that's a big one. Whoa, okay, that's a big animal that I haven't seen before.
Oh, what did you see?
It's like a long-tailed manta ray, but with one really long wing on the
Oh,
side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
cool. I'm coming through this area that I always love, which is like one of those sort of like a crevice where you're kind of going through, and the rocks are like really high above me, and there's lots of space below me, and it makes me have that sense of like um this idea of like how small I am, but how expansive things are, and it always it always gets me in float because of that, because it's like there's really nothing there, like, but it has that, I have that sense that I'm in like an awe-inspiring large environment, and it's all
Yeah.
virtual, which is just so amazing how the body feels that, from what I'm seeing. So
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like
The
I'm
immersion.
floating through the universe, and I feel so small, and like everything is just so much bigger than I am, like things are bigger than myself. There's something out
yeah.
there that's bigger than myself,
Mhm.
It's kind of like a
It's comforting,
spiritual,
right? It's
yeah,
kind
it's
of, yeah.
comforting, and it's a spiritual experience. Like,
Hmm.
you feel like, you're in the universe, you're this small thing, but it's almost spiritual. I can't explain it.
Yeah,
There's
no,
a,
I feel that. I feel that too.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
that's
love that.
that's why we're
Sometimes if I'm in some kind of, if I'm in like a particularly sad mood, and if I go
Mhm.
into float, um, or meditative act, I will actually just cry because
Mm.
it's just so
Mhm.
beautiful, and it's kind of a release. So
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
really
yeah,
cool.
interesting about crying in VR, right? Because
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful though. I guess like that's the real feeling, right? It feels very
Mhm.
moving and powerful, and it's amazing how that we can have that experience. Even together right now, we have no idea exactly what each other are floating through, but we all are having some experience, kind of like what Brooke was saying earlier. So,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the parallel.
hmm hmm
And then
Shared
I love,
universes.
yeah, I love the creatures floating through, because it just gives you a sense of awe too,
Yeah, for sure.
Just wanted to chime in that we have passed the 30 minutes of the official event. We're gonna stay on, of course, but if you had something planned, just FYI.
Uh, so thank you so much for that, Shimon. Um, I the time before last, we did Nathan did a like a guided meditation kind of thing. I don't know if you call it guided float, let's call it.
Yes, got it float. I like that.
If you feel like doing another one of these, I'd love to.
I would love to. I would love to do it if everybody's down for it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll experiment with a few things, and I'm gonna give you some starting advice. If what I'm saying or what I'm suggesting isn't what you want to do, just do whatever you want to do. But if you want to try the things that I suggest, then we'll have fun experimenting with it. So, and I'll just start us off with like just taking one deep breath. I'm not going to get into some breath work or anything like that, but just take one nice long deep breath in and then out, and then we'll start, and I'll just give you a little bit of prompting, and I'll try to leave space for you to do whatever it is that you would like to do. So take that one deep breath in, out slowly, and then just enjoy your float and see if you can maybe start by noticing what's close to you, like really close in proximity to you. How does that feel when you change your focus to like what's right in front of me or right below me? And then just kind of, if you're looking down or looking straight at something, kind of expand your focus into more of a wide view, not necessarily looking at anything in particular, but just trying to absorb sort of the view, the whole view. And while you're doing that, if you notice something that your eye kind of catches that you like, feel free to zoom in on that thing and see how that feels as well. And if you're looking at that thing, are you noticing that it feels like the world is moving faster or slower when you look at that thing? And does it change, even though the speed hasn't changed, does it feel like the speed has changed? And for something kind of weird that Doran told me about, if you've got the room to move, if you spin around backwards and now float backwards,
I
how
love
does
doing that.
that feel? Because we're always moving forward in float unless we think to do this. It's kind of interesting to see the things that we just saw drifting away from us now instead of drifting towards us.
Uh,
And maybe something just disappeared. Like for me, something just disappeared completely that was back there behind me. And you can kind of gently come back around to floating forward. And now just let yourself float forward. Maybe look right down the middle where you're headed to. Is it sort of inevitable that you're going to head to those things? Do you know if it's going to turn left or right? And now a little bit of an experiment. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. Can you still see the float happening? Is it still going? Like, or has it stopped? Can you predict where you're going to end up when you open your eyes again? When you're ready, feel free to kind of like flicker your eyes back open. Are you where you expected to be, or are you somewhere different? And this is just a curious question for yourself, but in float, is there ever an object you don't want to see or wish wasn't appearing? Is that like how you experience life in general, or is it only in float that you feel that way? And this is something interesting I just thought of, is like, is the world floating or are we floating? And would you be able to figure that out? I'm just gonna leave you quiet for like 15 seconds here, just float and maybe try some experiments of your own. If you don't normally, kind of prompt yourself that way, maybe try it and see what you think. I'm gonna ask you to take one more nice, slow, deep breath. Try to go as slow as you can in and as slow as you can out. Thank you for floating with me.
Hmm.
Thank
That was
you for that,
awesome.
Nathan. That was awesome. A
You're
lot of
very welcome.
mindfulness. Yeah, a lot of mindfulness and relaxation.
I almost fell asleep.
I love it. I love it.
That was
I
wonderful.
had the music on the same time you were talking, Nathan. I kind of just,
Oh, cool.
yeah,
Nice.
great.
Yeah.
There's
I
something.
never thought to turn around before
What's that?
and float. I never thought to turn around before and float backwards. And
Mm.
I'm loving it.
Cool.
That came up in the Facebook group. Someone asked about something, and Doran was like, I forget what it was. It was like a sideways or something they said, and I said, "Can you float backwards?" And Doran's like, "Yes, you can." I'm like, "What? I can't believe you can float backwards. That's amazing."
Yeah, that was, it
I
puts
never
a new
thought about it.
perspective. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, what you can, if you have a rotating chair, that's easy, obviously. But if you don't, you do is you look backwards and then you reset the direction. The long press of the
Oh,
octopus button, and then you can,
yes.
if you're on a couch, for example, you can still do it that way.
Yeah. It might be kind of interesting to have a button like to float backwards, like flip the orientation or something.
Yeah, we're
Be
probably
kind of
gonna
fun.
introduce that soon.
I feel like that would be good for like if you had a guided meditation or guided thing about like letting go or something like that, and then everything was floating the other way away from you, would be kind of a fun way to kind of connect the dots on that thought or that feeling.
Yeah, I know you have the spoken observations, but that
Mhm.
would also be wonderful if you can have, just like Nathan did, have the guided meditation, because I
Mm,
found that extremely relaxing and mindfulness.
nice. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Where we're going with this is eventually you'll be able to say what kind of spoken observation you want, and then you'll have little snippets of things. But if you chose to have as one of your choices guided meditation, then you will get some of that as well.
Oh,
Mhm.
that would be wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm
but if
supposed to, I need to record some for you, Doran. I've been meaning to, but I got my microphone out working again, so maybe I'll record something similar to what we did today and send it to you.
Nice.
that would be awesome.
Well, you guys
Um,
are doing an amazing job. I just want to tell you because,
thank you.
yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, since the early beta testing, I mean, you've made so many wonderful changes and listened to your community, and it's becoming something really special.
Thank you so
Agreed.
much.
Agreed.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's how it is when you have a grand vision and it takes
Mm,
a long time to get there, and like I feel impatient to kind of get all that stuff to you guys to show you what I'm already sort of seeing in my mind's eye.
Mm,
This is
yeah.
Coming along
this is-
beautifully. So, and
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
get there. We'll get there someday.
I have to
mean-
say, I do enjoy being part of the early stages as well, though. It's going to be amazing going forward with it.
Mm,
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is really exciting. I've been trying to, beef up my tools as far as meditation apps and tools. And ever since this was introduced a few months ago, Nathan mentioned it.
mhm,
I had well, just recently actually, I decided to go ahead and because of course when you first download it, it has the option to try, for a few minutes to get the experience and get the
mhm.
feel. And I decided to go ahead and just purchase the early access version of it, and
Cool.
it has made a huge difference.
Nice.
To have like the longer 15 minutes, the longer 30 minutes, and um it's more than just like a meditative state. It's just kind of
Mhm.
how you can just like rest your head on your chin or on your hand and just look. Just it's
Yeah.
just it's external observation as well, more, which I know is the point,
Mhm.
obviously, but it really is pleasant to see. It really, really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
it, bring,
do
it
like,
brings you. Oh, sorry, go
oh, go ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. You can say what you need to say and then
Oh,
I'll get
I was just gonna say like that, what you were saying, Kat, like the contemplative sort of nature of it.
Yes, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I also use Illuminate app, which is like it turns your phone into like a light therapy app, and it
Hmm.
flashes and then helps you get into a state like that as well. And what I find about float is like, just like Kat said, like you're just sitting here, the world's just floating by, and you're not really necessarily needing to be intentional about being contemplative. Like it sort of just happens. Like it just seems like
Hmm.
Yeah.
it just
Mhm.
triggers that activity in the brain. And I think last week when we were talking about it, I don't remember if I said this or not, but Doran was sharing how part of the inspiration for this kind of came from walking in the park or whatever. And that was also the inspiration for the person who created the EMDR, like the eye movement therapy. Um, and that's what I think, that's what I was thinking about when we're floating through here is like how
Hmm.
our eyes kind of lock on different things and move around, and we're thinking, and here we're being intentional about talking about things that are important
Right.
to us. It's sort of creating that kind of experiment within this space. So you get that sort of EMDR sort of experience, and you get a little bit of like forest bathing kind of feel, because you're walking through what feels a lot like nature or like space or the universe. And so yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I was just thinking, well, I'm in relax right now.
Mhm.
And then, seeing all the particles and stuff, swirling,
Mhm.
it feels like an aquarium. You know how you go to like a huge
Yeah.
aquarium,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you go to a huge aquarium where, it's wall to wall aquarium, but even though you're of course looking, you do
Mhm.
feel submersed in it a little bit. And
True.
well, relax, definitely, that's my favorite one so far, is the relax one. It feels very
Cool.
submersive for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So thank you for this, Doran. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you like the aquarium thing, just have a look at your email, and there's some interesting stuff in that vein coming right up.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
You can see it in the email, so
Oh, I see it in
I
the email right now.
I
Yeah.
don't need to be secretive about it.
Biolumin or
Bioluminescence
whatever.
is going
Yeah.
to be this sort of still
Is this
dark.
on the Facebook email? Where we looking? I'm sorry, I missed it. Where we looking?
In this morning, we sent an email about upcoming stuff, and in there,
Mm.
there is a screenshot of our next wall, which is called Biolumin, and
It
basically
looks
it's like
cool.
underwater glowing, you know.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. Mhm.
Looks really cool.
Yeah, that's my jam. I mean, I am an aquarium lover, so
Yeah.
so that's
This
exciting. That's exciting to hear.
the subject of the email says what's coming to float. So that's what you can look for
Okay,
in
thank you for that.
in
Because
your
I don't
inbox.
know where to
Yeah.
look. All right, thank you for that.
This is a unique to like a lot of the meditation apps out there because you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do the breath work, you know, because sometimes the breath work can be kind of distracting from,
For sure.
you know, the experience. If you know what I mean. It's just
I agree
because
100%. Yeah.
yeah, because you have to, you know, concentrate on your breathing and then just here you're just letting your mind free. I don't know, that's what it feels like
Mhm.
to me, you know.
Especially when you're tired after the day or whatever, like, and you just want to chill. You don't want to do more work. You know, it's like,
Yeah, you
just
don't
let
want to
me,
do
like,
anything,
just
right?
floating. Yeah, just
Yeah, it's
float.
like
Nothing at
watching
all.
TV. You know, the idea of
Yeah.
watching TV is just to not have to do anything but look at something. You know, and naturally
Sure.
your body will just kind of, you know, and whatever your, you know, reactive vital reactions to as far as, you know, blood pressure or pulse, whatever, just kind of naturally falls into that depending on what you're watching. So yeah, with this, it's, I don't want to compare it to TV. Of course, it's not TV,
Right.
but
No, but it's a good
it
alternative. Yeah.
yeah, it's a healthier alternative to actually turning on television.
It
Yeah.
helps you shut your mind down, you know. I also read a comment of one user afloat that she said she was having trouble sleeping. She got up in the middle of the night and she decided to just go on float and then she went right back to sleep again.
That's
Because,
amazing. I love that
yeah,
idea.
uh-huh.
I love
Because,
that
you
idea.
know, it just shuts your mind down to like all the distractions of
That's
everyday
cool.
life, you know.
That's really
That's a good
cool.
point too, especially depending upon which experience you choose, because
Yeah.
you
Right.
know, if you're that kind of person that, well, you know, if you're like me, I'm a little bit analytical anyway. I'm a lot analytical, you know. So you read things about how it's important a couple hours before bed to shut down the lights or turn on or turn the
Yeah.
lights down to give your body that's, you know, to clue in your body that okay, it's time to shut down and slow down and prepare for rest. And one reason why I do like relax is because it does have that, you know, that darkened state to where, yeah, it's not jarring to my eyes, hence my brain or whatever else, however else that works. So I
That's true.
can shut down and prepare
That's
to
true.
relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had commented on the Facebook page about, you know, the blue light because I did have to see a
I was
sleep
just
doctor.
thinking that. I was
Yeah.
just thinking that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. The my sleep doctor, because I had a bad anxiety disorder and insomnia cycle going on, and he said to shut down all your electronics like 3 hours before bed. Well, this was, you know, my extreme case. He said, you know, once you get used to it, an hour before bed should be good, but you know, no electronics before bed. And but with the relax mode, I don't have that problem because there's really not a whole lot of blue light going on. You know,
Right.
it's really that dark, like you said, it's that darkened state where, you know, it puts you into that, you know, nice relaxed mode. But
Yeah,
yeah, blue light,
there is the night dimmer too in the Quest you can turn on where it'll turn
yes,
stuff more orange at night. I
I
wonder if
have
you
that
can,
on all the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, me
I
too.
put it
Me
on all
too.
the
Yeah,
time.
I do
Yeah,
too. Yeah, I
it's
do too.
easier on your eyes. Yeah.
For sure,
Yeah, most of my
100%.
glasses that I buy now, you know, I buy quite a few pairs of glasses, and most of them are the blue blocking
Yeah,
glasses for that
yeah,
exact reason.
for
Yes.
sure.
The
That's
blue
good.
light blocking glasses, yeah.
Yes, that's very important for our sleep and wake cycles.
Because I suffer from insomnia too and anxiety, so I'm
Yeah,
there
Yeah.
with you. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
you
there
know
with
what I
you.
mean then. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally
Yeah.
I
relate.
started in relax because of what everyone was talking about. So I decided to load relax now. And so I'm in the relax one. It's nice.
Oh.
It's very cool. I usually go into imagine because I like that one a lot.
You know,
Dorn, I don't know if you have any users that use like the Aura ring or anything like that, or if you've got any interesting data, but that I think you were doing a study with some people too, right? On the benefits and effects and stuff.
We have actually completed one study that proved that float reduces anxiety as much as a CBT therapy session with a friend.
Nice.
So
oh,
Very,
nice.
Very cool. I could
That's
just
very
see,
nice.
like, if somebody mentioned blood pressure and things like that, and I thought, I bet you like Aura Ring or like the Apple Watch or things like that. Like, I'm curious if people have like, looked at it before floating and then after floating and see if it like if it
Yeah.
was making an impact, even in the physical sense. That's pretty cool. But yeah, the anxiety, and like measuring that and being able to say, yeah, it actually does, make a difference. I mean, it's obvious to anybody who's used it, but like just to have that scientific sort of data is pretty cool too.
Yeah, and because we are, I mean, like I said, there's so much stuff that we want to do, and one of them is it's not just about monitoring, it's actually because Float is generative.
Yes, true.
We can actually influence it. So,
Yeah.
the future in which you have, whether the device you were talking about, or whether even
Mhm.
Apple Watch or your Fitbit,
Yeah.
reacting to you say where you want
Yeah,
to, and then the application, the Float application, actually listen
that's
to
cool.
what your body's doing and sort of reacting to it.
It'd be amazing, yeah, to have integration with like the Aura Ring or with the Apple Watch or even like I was just thinking that you're saying that like the vibration vests and things like that would be kind of interesting too to play with. Like you could sort of like massage, you could add some like vibrations to the mix and everything. This is a lot of things. I hope the headsets soon, also include some of the bio, feedback stuff like the Muse headset I had for a while, the Muse meditation headset where you put it on your forehead and actually tracks your heart rate and tracks your brain signals. Like if we can integrate that into like a virtual reality headset where you can get some data about what's going on for the user, that'd be really interesting.
Absolutely.
I'm interested in what you said, Doran, about being able to pretty much tell Float what you want. Is it that adaptive? Is it like an AI kind of thing? Because how does that? I'm not a techie person at all, so now I'm curious how that even happens, or how does that?
It is built to be to allow AI and human creation at the same time. And right now it's mostly human creation, but the way it is rearranged is done in a very actually quite sophisticated way. The full power of it is you still can't see it in the actual app, but we can. If you've seen the featured Float, new feature where it's on all the way to your right in the menu. There's a featured Float, and there we do these little experiments. And sometimes it's just, let's change the color, or let's make the creatures more responsive to you, or let's make it so that it's more sky than rocks, and we can read those things. So all we would need to do is to say, once we plug that in, we can say, hey, you know what? If you have a higher blood rate for not blood rate, heart rate, maybe we want to give you less rocks and more sky. Imagine, and
Yeah.
adaptively as you float.
Yeah, maybe in the future you can even just talk to it, like say something, and the float changes based on what you say to it. That'd be really interesting.
That's where it's going to get to in the end.
Yeah, that's
it.
really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't necessarily. I mean, I could sit here for a while and keep talking and floating, but I also know Doran and everybody. Maybe maybe you guys want to get going, but this has been great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for this
Yes,
experience.
thank you. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna be here for a while. I have it on infinity, right? So I'm gonna be here for a while.
You're falling asleep in it tonight, Kat. You're just gonna
Possibly.
go to sleep and wake up with it.
Very possible, or at least until my headset battery dies. So I don't know. Let's see what happens first.
That's funny.
I have the cord plugged in.
I have fell asleep in here before, and I'm just like, whoops.
Yeah, I believe that. I can totally believe that.
But yeah, I think it's a good time to wrap up. I'm going to close Zoom, but you guys can stay if somebody wants to stay and keeps talking. I can make you a host, and you can just continue, or you can just continue on your own, or anything else. But thank you so much, everybody. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doran.
If
Thank
Yeah, thank you
you.
so much.
yeah, and thank you, Nathan, for the guided meditation thing. That was really awesome, as always.
Yeah,
You're
it's
very
great.
welcome.
It's
That
great.
was awesome.
We're
Yeah.
gonna do this again next Wednesday and every Wednesday except probably the Christmas time. And
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, everybody. Happy
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
and if you're still not a paid user, I'm just reminding you that there is a really good price right now for that. So
Lifetime deal.
and other than that, I'm gonna say goodbye, and I'm gonna hopefully see all
Thanks.
of you, even more people next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
Definitely.
Yeah, if you
Good night.
enjoyed it,
Definitely.
invite somebody else to come next week, because that's what I did. I invited a few people, and I'm really happy to hear they're enjoying it. So
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, this was excellent.
cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right,
Good night,
have a
everybody.
good night, everyone,
Good
or good day, or
night.
wherever it is.
Night.
Good night.
Hey,
Good night.
good night.
Happy floating.
Happy floating.
Thank you.
Float on, as we say.
Float on. I like that. That's good.
Float on.
Hold on.
Very cool.
All right. Bye,
Good
everyone.
night.